How's it going, everyone? Johnny Darty here with Animal Conservation Media, and today we are here again at the North Georgia Zoo. We're doing some filming today, and I thought I would take a minute to show you guys their reptile house. So we'll take you around and we'll show you some of the awesome animals that they have here at the North Georgia Zoo. So the first animal I wanted to talk about today is the bearded dragon. The bearded dragons are actually one of my favorite lizards for a few reasons. One of the main reasons why is this right here. They're known to be sweet little puppy dogs. Everybody loves these guys. They usually love people too. They're actually one of the few lizards that are known to really seek out affection from humans, which I think is really, really cool. Now they're called bearded dragons because they have a little beard, just like me. So if you guys look right there, you can see the cute little beard that she has here. So they'll puff that out and you can see actually a little bit of black coloration right there already. And that black coloration, they'll actually spread over their entire beard. So another cool thing about bearded dragons, if you guys don't know how to tell the difference between snakes and lizards, it's really, really easy to see on bearded dragons. So obviously one of the easiest ways to tell them apart is legs. Snakes don't have legs while lizards do. Now there are some exceptions, and I'm actually going to show you one of those here in just a second. But also, lizards have ears and snakes do not. So if we look at her again, you can see right there. That's her little ear. So we'll zoom in on that. So you can see that little hole right there. That's her ear, which is really awesome. They also have eyelids, so she can blink. Snakes, believe it or not, do not have eyelids. So what's really awesome about snakes is when they shed their skin, they actually have special scales over their eyes. They're called eye caps. It also helps to keep their eyes moist and also keeps it from getting dirty, which is really awesome. And they shed that off every single time they shed their skin. So you guys remember just a second ago, I was gonna show you one of those exceptions to lizards not having legs, and here it is. This right here, believe it or not, is a legless lizard. So if you guys remember those other characteristics that we talked about, the ears and the eyelids, is actually something you can see right here on our little guy. So if you guys look really closely, you're gonna see those little ear holes right behind her head there, as well as her eyelids. Now I wanted to show you guys another really cool animal today. We can't actually pick it up because they're really, really young. They were actually born just last week, I believe. But they're actually what's called Saul Cotta tortoises. We have some of our adults outside. I'll put a picture of one of them up right now. So Saul Cotta tortoises are actually the third largest tortoise in the world, next to the Aldabra tortoise, which is number 2, and the Galapagos giant tortoise, which is the largest tortoise in the world. So the Saul Cotta tortoises will usually get probably about 100, 120 pounds when they're full grown, maybe a little bit less than that. They're not massive like the Galapagos tortoises are, but they're still pretty decent size. But we're gonna go back to the back of the reptile house real quick, and I'm actually gonna show you guys some of these little bitty babies that were actually born just last week. So like I said, we're not going to pick them up because they are way too little to pick up right now. But you guys can see these tiny little babies. They're so cute. And it's alright, so next we're going to get out a really awesome snake for you guys to see. It's actually a native snake. It's something you will see here in the southeastern United States. Some of you guys might know what it is before I pull it out, but we'll actually talk about it a little bit more here in just a second. But let me go ahead and get it out for you guys. It's probably one of the most beautiful snakes that we have here at the zoo. And here she is. Look at this beautiful snake. Look at that coloration that she has. So this right here, this is what's called a corn snake. Now corn snakes, like I said, they are a native species here. A lot of people will guess they're corn snakes because they eat corn. That's not true. They actually live in cornfields, so they're gonna eat the mice and rats and stuff that are living in cornfields. Another really cool thing too, if you look at her belly, it kind of looks like a corn cob. So that's another reason why they're called corn snakes. Now, back to the differences between lizards and snakes. So one of the biggest ones we didn't really talk about was their tail. So a lot of people think that tails on a snake actually start right behind their head. That's not true. The tail on a snake, and actually hers, starts right there. It's that tiny little part on the end. So you can see the rest of her body here. It's only that tiny little part on the end. It's right below their vent, which is where they go to the bathroom. Now with lizards, it's actually a different story. Lizards are usually about half and half. Half their length is their body and half their length is their tail. So I think that's another really cool thing, a really cool difference between snakes and lizards. But if you guys look closely at her head here, you're gonna see that she does not, maybe a little focus, there we go. You can see that she does not have eyelids. She also does not have ears. So you guys can see she's actually flicking out her tongue there, which is really cool. And what she's doing is she's sniffing the air. So they have what's called Jacobson's organs in their mouth. So when they stick out that tongue, they're actually picking up all the molecules that are in the air. They put them against those receptors, and that's how they smell. And a lot of people ask me why their tongue is forked, and probably the best answer for that is the same reason why we have two nostrils, and so we can determine where a smell is coming from. If we're picking up more particles in the right side of our nose, we know that that smell or that scent is coming from the right side. So it's the same thing with their tongue. If they're picking up more particles on the right side of that tongue, they know that their prey or whatever they're smelling is to the right of them. So let's just take another minute to just look at her and look how beautiful her coloration is. Now, if you'll also notice her eyes are red, she is an albino. A lot of people get freaked out when I say that because albino animals are usually all white with those red eyes, but she's got these awesome colorations on her. And then you see those really cool red eyes that she has there. Not all snakes that are albino are going to have a bunch of white on them. I'll show you another example of an albino snake here in a minute, but this snake is usually a darker red, a darker orange, and these rings right here are actually usually black. But when that albino gene gets in there, it brightens up the colors and actually makes those little rings white, which I think is really awesome. Now we're gonna go ahead and put her back, and we're gonna go talk about another animal that we have here. So let's watch her go back inside. Awesome. All right, so we've got another snake for you guys. This one's a little bit bigger. This one's awesome. This is actually one of my favorite snakes here at the zoo. This is what's called a jungle carpet python. If you guys look at that beautiful face there, this beautiful coloration, this is actually an arboreal snake. These guys are from Australia, and what arboreal means is they spend a lot of their time up in the trees. That's one of the main reasons why she has that really awesome coloration. So they have that yellow and black coloration so they can blend in with the leaves up in the trees a lot better. When you look at other snakes that have browns and tans and stuff, you probably can guess that it's a terrestrial snake. It likes to stay on the ground. Now, since this snake is arboreal, she likes to squeeze a lot, and a lot of people ask me if that's dangerous. And it's not dangerous. This snake right here is actually going to take one look at me and say, I can't eat that. The worst this snake is going to do to me is give me a nasty little bite, but this snake is not going to try to squeeze me. It is a constrictor, but the main reason why snakes will squeeze, especially when you're holding them, is because they just want to feel secure. If you guys have ever climbed a tree as a kid, you hold on nice and tight so you don't fall off, and that's what these guys like to do. Since they don't have hands, they have to wrap their bodies around something in order to keep themselves from falling out of the tree. And when we hold them, we're basically like a giant moving tree to them, so they're gonna hold on nice and tight so they don't fall off. But you can see again just how big she is compared to the corn snake. So I'm 6 foot tall, and holding her like this, she is longer than I am tall, which I think is pretty awesome. And again, this is one of my favorite snakes. I absolutely love the jungle carpet pythons. But anyway, we'll go ahead and put this girl up, and we'll get out one last animal to show you guys really quick before we end the video. Alright guys, so our next snake is really, really cool. You guys have probably heard of what's called a ball python before. Now, ball pythons are from Africa. They're actually really, really common as pets nowadays. And because of that, there's a lot of breeding that goes along with these guys. Their usual coloration is probably like a darkish green brown color, but when you breed them, you can get some pretty spectacular colors. Just like this. This is what's called a super fire ball python. This is one of the most beautiful snakes I've ever seen in my life. I absolutely love them. You can get white snakes, you can get orange snakes, you can get purple snakes, you can get tan, brown, all sorts of other colors with ball pythons, but the whites are just absolutely spectacular. Now, like I said, they're very popular as pets because they have a very docile temperament. Especially if you handle them a lot, they're going to be really calm. Another reason why a lot of people will have these guys as pets is because of their size. Now this right here, this is not full grown yet, but it's actually pretty close. They do not get very big, especially compared to like our jungle carpet python that we got out earlier. So they usually stay about 3.5 to 4 feet. They'll max out at 6 feet, but it doesn't happen very often. They're usually gonna stay around 3 to 4 feet when they're full grown. They also get pretty chunky, not gonna lie. They're pretty hefty snakes, but they're small enough where you can keep them in a reasonably sized enclosure for your house rather than something absolutely massive for like a jungle carpet python. Now we'll go ahead and put this girl back and we will show you one last thing before we end the video. Alright, so the last thing I wanted to show you guys is what a normal albino snake looks like. So like I said, they're gonna have a little bit of white coloration, but normally what their coloration is gonna look like is the same pattern as they used to have, but with white and yellow color. So I want you guys to look at this. This is what's called a Burmese Python, one of the largest snakes in the world. We're gonna look at her. She's actually in her water bowl right now, which is really cool. But you can see that gorgeous white and yellow coloration that she has. And that's normally what albino snakes are gonna look like. But again, you can also have some of those other colorations like our corn snake. And by the way, that morph is called a candy corn snake for pretty obvious reasons. She looks like candy corn. Well, that about wraps it up for today. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. We're gonna have some more content coming out really, really soon. I will see you guys in the next video.